Okay, so you're about to PCS to Camp Pendleton, California, and you want to know where the heck should I live when I may move out there. I have no idea about the area. I don't even know where my budget could take me. I don't know anything. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you everything in all the areas around Camp Pendleton that you need to look at when making the move out here. And stay to the end, I'm going to give you some top areas that you may have never known about when making the move out here. Let's get into it. What's up, everyone? My name is Cameron Hodge. On this channel, I talk about living in and making the move to San Diego, California, and I drop videos every Tuesday and Thursday helping you make an educated decision when making the move out here. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe to be notified every time I drop a new video. Also, I am a licensed realtor here in the state of California. What I love even more being, in this position is to help you make a decision when it comes to making the move out here. So this number popping up below is how you can get a hold of me. Give me a call, text, email, does not matter. I get people reaching out days, nights, weekends, all the time, and I love it. I love it. Especially being a veteran myself. I PCSed out here myself, so this is something that I really love to help with because I've been there, I've done it, and I want to help you avoid any pitfalls when making that move out here. So in today's video, where should you live when getting stationed in Camp Pendleton? So a little bit of the backstory about where I came from. So when I first came out here, I was stationed in MCS Miramar, which is in about the center of the county. Camp Pendleton is what's considered North County, San Diego. So that's where we're going to be covering here in a little bit in a moment. I'm going to be bringing up a map, and we're going to travel through the map and talk about all the different areas you could live in when moving to Camp Pendleton. But some tips and tricks. So one thing with clients I've had recently is a couple things. One, obviously, if you're making the move out here, you've already seen base housing is at 97% capacity. So you could consider staying on base, but I promise you, this is for those that cannot get a home on base and the wait list is maybe starting to stack up. Well, you got to live off base. So there's a lot of areas around the area. Most likely, you're going to want to stay in North County, San Diego. Also, another thing is when you're getting ready to leave your station, keep in mind that if you are looking to purchase a home when you move out here, it could take up to 60 days to close on a home. And that's something you need to factor in when making the move out here and make sure that you have everything lined up when doing so. All right, so let's get to the map. All right, so if you don't know where Camp Pendleton is, you've never actually been stationed out here, so this is where it's located. Camp Pendleton is this whole area that encompasses this green area right here. And in reference, so here where it says San Diego, that's roughly where the airport is located. So if you ever have friends and family that are flying into the area, that's where they're going to fly into. So you're probably about, with peak traffic hour, it could take you over an hour to get down to pick up family. So something to keep in mind when you move up there. So a lot of times when people get stationed out here, where they're looking is they're trying to stay in North County, San Diego. So I've had a couple videos. Right now I have 2 vlog videos at the time of recording in Fallbrook and San Marcos to give you an idea of what it looks like living there. But a lot of times, a lot of the main gates for Camp Pendleton, the highest is going to be right here. And then all the other gates are mainly in Oceanside that you're probably going to be accessing. And there are some that are closer up here, but the main one that most people are in is here in Oceanside. So Oceanside is probably one of the top communities people look at because it's the closest to the main gate of Pendleton. And a lot of times I know a lot of military members, it's trying to stay within your budget when making the move out here. So unfortunately, obviously, and this is just everywhere in the country right now, but home prices, yes, they are extremely high. Rates are very high. So that unfortunately pushes a lot of people. And keep in mind, even if you're like, well, Cameron, I'm not looking to buy, I'm going to rent. Well, the rents go in correlation with this conversation too. So keep in mind when I say, even though I'm talking about, purchasing a home mainly in this situation, keep in mind when I say something's high, rents are going to be pretty far in correlation with that. Because if someone's buying a house and then renting it out, guess what? They're going to be trying to rent it out. What's funny is another thing also is that for Camp Pendleton, there's also a lot of resale pages and things like that where military members will give first access to rentals if they're PCSing, things like that. But what's funny is you even see people in there, they're like, oh, I'm trying to help military members, but I'm saving you rent, and you're still charging $3,000 a month, $3,500 a month for rent. So you're really not going to find a deal there. But that's another place for you to look at to find things that come on market sooner. Now, so Oceanside is a lot of areas. Now, Oceanside, and this is obviously always look up all your information when it comes to school records and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, experience when I first came out here in 2014, Oceanside was, it was still trying to clean up. It used to be really ghetto. If you ever lived off base, the cities directly off base always seem to not be the best. Well, Oceanside is putting a lot of effort in. They're really trying to make the community better. And I think it's still a great place depending what your budget in, but it's always a community by community basis. So Oceanside, again, is one of those areas that you need to consider, but you also could go inland. So when people talk about North County San Diego, it pretty much is Carlsbad, Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, Escondido, and then all this area right here. Now, heading south in San Diego, the traffic is going to kill you more often than not. But I will tell you what's interesting that I don't know if everyone really talks about when it comes to Camp Pendleton is, so think about traffic, right? In your normal traffic hours. And something you need to think about is, so when start with morning traffic, right? Typical 9 to 5. Most people that are civilians working in San Diego. So traffic is terrible in the morning going south because everyone goes south to work. In the evening, traffic is bad going north because everyone's coming home. So one interesting thing about Camp Pendleton that people don't always cover is they're like, oh, don't live far away, is, well, now it has two things here. So the first is like, actually, if you live more south, there is going to be traffic no matter what. It's not perfect, but you're going against the bulk of traffic. So if you live south of Camp Pendleton driving to work, you actually might be going the opposite ways of traffic, which can be a solid plus. Now, the 5 is always crowded during like any time of day during the week. So that's one downfall. If you live off, like, let's say Poway and you travel to Camp Pendleton, things like that could be a little more in tune. So, but keep in mind, like the 78, it's always packed, especially along the San Marcos corridor. I don't care what direction you're going. It's crazy. It's nuts. San Marcos is an amazing community. If you look on like niche.com, like their schools are some of the highest rated for the county. They put a lot of money. They got a river walk coming in now that they're starting to do construction on. That's where you have like a major college for the area, Cal State San Marcos and things like that. So San Marcos is a great community, but the price point is going to be substantially higher for a home. I mean, you're looking like probably over $800,000, right, to get a single family home. So that's one downfall of that area. And any area in San Diego is like the price points are higher. Now, one place I lived when I was here in San Diego was Bonzo. I love Bonzo. In the center of Bonzo, you will find townhomes. You will find townhomes and condos that are going to be more affordable in a lot of price ranges. The community is great. People kind of just want to do their own thing, be left alone. And I had a lot of military members that rented and purchased in this area. So Bonzo, great place. When it comes to the single family homes, you're looking over, $900,000 because they start to get a lot of land. Same with Fallbrook. Fallbrook, now you can find homes that are like $580 to $650. So that's one cool thing about Fallbrook. Also just shot a vlog tour, so you look on the channel and get that. And that's really cool because these areas allow you to have, really the only downfall of living in these areas is the 76. So for some reason, someone in their great mind decided they were going to make a highway that had lights like every half mile to a mile. Like, why you would build a highway with traffic lights is beyond me. I don't know why they did it, but unfortunately that is something they did. So, all right. So one interesting thing as well is, so a lot of military members, because they start looking down here in North County, they're like, look, this is my budget. And down here, I'm looking at like maybe a crappy townhome or condo, and this is for me, like, especially for enlisted, like they're just kind of stuck here. And even my officer clients, like they still are like, look, I only can get like a condo townhome down here. I want more. Well, a lot of people will take that drive in Pendleton and they'll start looking Temecula, Murrieta. These areas, the schools are great. It's wine country. The communities are awesome. And I'm not like, you cannot steer you in this direction. It's just you need to consider this area because a lot of people don't talk about it so much as they come out here to Camp Pendleton. They're like, oh, I need to live here. Well, if you love kind of your own thing, Temecula Murrieta could be a great option. Niche.com rates them fairly highly rated schools. The communities are generally pretty safe, and it's very, a lot of military live there. Now, obviously, if you go north, it gets cheaper and cheaper. But, obviously travel time becomes a lot higher. The one downfall is if you're traveling to Temecula, you're going to run into right here on the 15, traffic just stops. There's no carpool lane. It's just deadlock traffic. Even on Sundays and weekends, gridlocked right here in the opening of Temecula. It's terrible. But it's you gotta weigh the trade-offs, right? Because like your budget will go a little bit farther. So instead of maybe a condo, you're getting a small home up in this area, which is why a lot of people will make that jump. The downside is property taxes can be a little bit higher in Temecula, but home prices being a little bit lower. It's a flip-flop, but it's something you need to look into. Now, I will tell you, like, obviously the one good thing about Temecula North is while San Diego County lost a little bit of population, and obviously as military members, it's important to keep in mind like where home prices are going. You gotta have that investor hat, right? Well, in Riverside County, it actually gained population. Like people are actually moving to Riverside County, which is up here, because of it, you can get more for your value. So as a military member, it's something to take note of when you're buying a home out here, whether you want to rent it out or you want to sell it when you go to leave in coming years. So it's important to keep this in mind when you choose where to live. And maybe, I've seen military members get out and they choose to stay in San Diego. So all this is important, and you kind of have to weigh it in when they can move out here. So obviously you can go south to San Diego, but a lot of times that's for people stationed in like Miramar or Coronado, 32nd Street, and things like that. So when it comes to Pendleton, it's probably, if you want to avoid traffic, it's probably beneficial you stay in North County, Southern Riverside. It just is. Now, keep in mind, like I said before, like it takes time to get into a home. It could take you 60 days to close on a home. So it's important to know, when you have to leave for your move, and we can start looking beforehand to make sure that we are lined up before you arrive. Because obviously, like regular jobs, you can be like, oh, hey, boss, I can't come in, this and that. In the military, yeah, I mean, we all know. Like, you're going to choose your military member, or this your spouse watching, and you are in the military, like, you're going to hit the ground running as soon as you get here. You're not going to have time to deal with anything. So making sure everything's lined up before you get here, so important. But overall, and let's talk about, where to live and things like that. Like, there are also communities on, the east side of the 15 that are great. Valley Center, a little tough. As you can see, there's only like 2 ways in to Valley Center, so traffic is always terrible. It creates it way more out of the way than it should be. So something to keep in mind when you look at that. Escondido, looking at like niche.com, the crime can be a little bit higher. Same with Central Vista, or like any communities, some suburbs in Oceanside, but it all weighs into it. But a lot of times, it's really common to stay along the 76 or head to Temecula and Murrieta, or stay along, I call it the 4 cities: Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, Escondido. All great options, all areas for you to consider when making the move out here. And you really got to weigh in, what you're looking for, does it make sense for you, and, what you really want to achieve when making the move out here. So it's so important to make sure that you kind of just look at everywhere, right? Like, all of these are great options, but you got to know what's your budget, what are you looking to get in the home, and what are you willing to give up, right? So I can tell you, even being a military member myself, when I was stationed in Miramar, I would travel to 15 and take that hit in traffic because my family was able to live closer to my wife's family. So we didn't try and live close to base. I chose to have a longer drive, so that way she could have a better life with the kids, which is probably why a lot of people choose Temecula and Murrieta, is they want more space, they want community, they want a safe community, they want great schools. And that's why they choose Southern Riverside a lot of times, is people who want that. Oceanside, San Marcos, maybe people with a higher budget, but want to be as close as possible to base so they can minimize that drive time. They're not wasting time having to sit in traffic. Which, no matter what, it's Southern San Diego, you're going to deal with traffic. It's not something you cannot avoid. No matter what, you are going to have to deal with it. It is what it is. But keep that in mind when every area you look at. Also, don't forget to look at school ratings, right? Look at the San Diego County Board, see where schools are sitting. What are their ratings? If you need daycare, where are the daycare that you can get into? So keep in mind, any daycare you go to is going to have it's going to have a wait list, and 2, you have to make sure you incorporate that into your drive, because it's going to get all tossed up, and you have to make sure everything is lined up. And maybe if you're lucky, and like, let's say that you're a spouse watching this, or you are a military member and your spouse is at home watching the kids, hey, take that as a blessing. That's awesome. It's something you do not have to worry about. But make sure you're probably going to want to get a location, condo, townhome, home that makes them comfortable while they're at home, because no one wants to leave their spouse in a prison while they're not there, right? None of us do that. And it's making sure that you get all these lined up and you have that conversation. So, I hope this video gave you a good idea of where you could potentially live when making the move out here. But at the same time, if you are PCSing and you want to have a conversation about what area could potentially fit you best and you don't know where to go, look, I've been there, I've done that, and I'm here to help you. This number popping up below is how you can get a hold of me when making the move out here. I've been in the military, I've PCSed, I get it. I hope you got value in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.